Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. 8:32, not bad. I will say that as the internet gets caught back up in the next few minutes, I imagine you guys might have some latency on your end. I apologize about that in advance. So, without further ado, hello to those of you joining us. I'm going to put the direct link on Twitter really quickly, and then I'll be back with you. I guess I owe it to Facebook World as well. Really should go back and look at the analytics and see how many people join us from Facebook. Oh no, they changed the layout again. Facebook changes the layout like every week, and I don't know how to deal with that. Posts. I want to just make a post. Why is this so hard now? Wow. Okay. Switch into the page to manage. There we go. Much better. All right. So, welcome to the four of you who are with us. Um, I do think I'll say it for those of you who are just now hopping on. Um, you guys might have some. I know we've had some latency issues in the past. We might likely have that again this morning, just as the internet gets caught back up with everything else. There's all that data piling up. I don't know things good about how the internet works, but that's my best guess. Um, so let me go grab two things to go over. I've got the weekly message that we like to recap. We'll talk a little bit about the curriculum fair last night, and then we'll take questions. So, some real quick stuff. Again, well, that deadline was yesterday. Curriculum fair was yesterday. Class registration is coming up. That registration process begins on the 8th. That is Monday. Um, Now's a really great time if you've got questions about what your student is interested in, or they have questions about what's available to come ask your counselor and admin team. We're really great at trying to connect kids to their interest because we know that kids who are connected are successful. Um, I got a really heartwarming email from one of our YouTube regulars last night who we connected with their student who is performer in their own right, and we're really excited to get them looped into the music production class. We know there's lots of individual kids out there who play guitar in their bathroom or record tracks or cover this song on piano or they sing. And while they might not fit in traditional music programs, the music production program is a totally rad way to do music academically, to connect with careers in music that are a little non-traditional. You know, you don't have to be Beyonce or Taylor Swift or John Mayer to make it in the music world. There are recording artists or recording engineers and audio production folks. So, anyway, just cool. We love connecting students to what their passions are. That's really what drives a lot of our inspiration here as educators. Um, we do have the ACT makeup form that was due yesterday at noon. So if you're still interested in that, you can email Miss Sanchez, but it may very well be too late. Um, you can still sign up for the ASVAB. A lot of folks are under the impression that the ASVAB is specifically for students who want to be in the military. The military does use it for sort of career direction and placement. But it is a really nice tool for students, even if they're not going to go in the military, who are still searching for what how to match what they're interested in with what like sort of natural aptitudes they have. The ASVAB has some really cool question types on it that you don't see in other places. So just if you've got a kid who is still trying to search and figure it out, I highly recommend it. It's a really great opportunity. Um, it's not too late to sign up for the diploma program for the class of 2023. So if you're a current sophomore and have been thinking about the diploma program, you are still available to you still have time to sign up for that. To clarify on the ASVAB, that's a good question. Students in grade 10, 11, or 12. Unfortunately, freshmen cannot, but I do recommend taking it early. So if you have a freshman, certainly keep your ears open for them to take it next week or next year as a sophomore. It's a really great reflection piece for kids. This is going to sound weird, right? But teenagers, they have like a smooth frontal cortex, kind of like mashed potatoes for brains. And that's not a bad thing. That's just how teenagers are. And what I really like about the ASVAB is it doesn't feel like a regular test. There's lots of like different kinds of cognitive puzzles. I remember when I took it, one of the sections had these diagrams of gears with arrows telling you which way they turned, and they would label one and say, which direction does this turn, clockwise or counterclockwise? And you had to think through the pulley system and figure out how that worked. There was another section where they would give you a 5-digit number, and you would have to find which column. They'd give you like a column of 40 numbers, and you'd have to find that number in the columns as quickly as you can. So it's just neat, right? Like those are kind of games and not necessarily just what is the capital of this or how do you factor this. I just said everything I know about math. I use the word factors. Haha. And then tonight or today at 1 for students, because it's an asynchronous day, really great opportunity to ask more questions about newspaper and yearbook. And I will say this, a lot of people a lot of students like, I don't know about newspaper, because we live in an era of social media creation, right? Like this is sort of my wannabe little YouTube creator studio, but like we do live in a world of content creators, but a key to being a really great content creator, the world of podcasts has really taken off in the last 7-8 years. And a lot of that is due to people who are really great writers. A lot of those people came from the world of journalism. So newspapers are a really great place to start if your student is interested in sort of that journalistic storytelling kind of thing, whether it is video or audio or written. Highly recommend. All right. That's the weekly message. I'm going to real quick go pull up our midweek updates questions to see if anybody put anything there. I don't think I saw any. I looked last night. Oh, I do see some. Okay. So school, this is a question about the school year. The school year calendar has not changed. We will still be done in June. I believe graduation. 1 p.m. is an interest session. I'm so sorry. 1 p.m. today is an interest session for students interested in yearbook or newspaper. And students, the link is in the weekly message. Let me see if I can dig it out real quick. And then I'm going to go back to this question about the calendar. Newspaper and yearbook. Here we go. Copy. We're living in the future. With 2 clicks, I can send you direct information. So that should get you to a Google Meet. Your student can go learn about what those classes and what they are and what opportunities there are. Because those classes do both exist as classes, but they require some outside work in terms of being at events and taking photos and things like that. Okay, about the calendar, I need to go pull up the master calendar. We've already had a shift. Like today is now an asynchronous day. It was going to be next week, but now it's the 3rd and the 24th. But there haven't been any major changes past that. We still have graduation on the master calendar. Is here on the 9th of June. I am going to double check that. If you're here and you know differently, maybe shout, Miss Miller, if you're hearing me on here and happen to know exactly, I'm going to verify. It's on the master calendar on Google for parents to see on Wednesday, June the 9th. For some reason, I have the 10th in my brain. We will clarify before then. So that's a good question, but school will go until roughly a few days before that. We'll start exams the last week of May, probably. And that last week of May, some students, you'll only come to the building. At this point, we anticipate you only coming to the building when you have an exam. And most teacher-made exams will be taken asynchronously, because when we give the biology exam, we have to bring 300 kids to school and spread them across 30 classrooms. So it's just logistically impossible to manage that and have other kids go into class. But just know that's the time frame for the rest of the calendar. But good question. Guidance on how to register for AP exams. If you are in an AP class and anticipate taking the AP exam, I'm going to have you email Miss Barnes, vbarnes@wcpss.net. And I would recommend you do that today. I think exam sign up is very time sensitive. So check today. Let's see. Oh, now we're getting to some of the nervous things because it was from last night where we had a board meeting. Okay. The latest WCPSS family message regarding AP exams in the spring indicates a March 12th deadline for registering. Time sensitive. Will we get details from the AP teacher or an admin? If the students take the exam digitally, will they do so remotely or on campus? Okay, so I cannot share details right now. I know that Miss Midget and Miss Barnes are actively working on some of those details. I think some new stuff popped up yesterday with how things have to work and when things are going to be given, and they are furiously sorting through all of that. The good news is there's not a better dynamic duo to sort that out to benefit kids. And I will ask them if we can put some stuff out on Twitter or something regarding registration. I'll see if I can clarify this morning really quickly. I'll read the rest of these questions and then I'll text some folks and see. But great questions on AP exams. Don't let me forget to go back to that. Does the school have a STEP team? Yes, the STEP team currently exists as an extracurricular. If so, are they taking new members? Yes, probably. I assume it might be rolling membership because it's a club, but I'm not sure. So if you're here and hearing this, I'm going to recommend that you email Mr. Abdulaziz. I will put his email. Let me make sure I've got it right. I'll put his email in the chat. You can email him. He's the advisor, and he can get you all the information on STEP team. The artist in me is super excited that we've had that for several years pretty consistently now. So definitely reach out to Mr. A on that. Next question. The program Ms. Frazier is doing. What will we gain from this experience? I would need more clarification on the Ms. Frazier experience. She is our career development coordinator, so she does an awful lot of things. If you're talking about the Career and College Promise program through Wake Tech, that is actually an academic scheduled class situation. She also does some after school stuff. So I would just email her, DFrazier1. I'll check in a minute. Are you allowed to create new clubs as a student? Yes, you can. Those applications are due to Miss Natasha Wilson. And you need to make sure you have a club advisor. So you'll need to get to know some teachers, talk to them and say, hey, would you be willing to sponsor this? In some cases, we can help with that. And then how can I give my ideas and suggestions for school events? So for all students who are hearing or seeing this, or parents who have students who are interested in being involved in that way, I highly recommend getting involved with MEB, the Millbrook Executive Board, and student class councils. We have a really strong student government who really does a great job of planning and executing all kinds of events for the student body. Depending on what grade you're in, we have different advisors. If you're a freshman, you would email Ms. Cost. If you're a junior, you would email Ms. Janeski. I can't believe I don't know the other advisors off the top of my head. I apologize. I know Ms. Cost because I've been in 8th grade meetings for the last week, and I know Ms. Janeski because I work with her. But you can email me, cpatton2, and I can put you in touch with the right class council advisor for your grade. Alrighty, and then the last question on here, if our student was in an AP class, do they need to register? So I am sensing a theme about AP exams. So we're going to get to the bottom of that here in just a minute. Let me go back and check some questions here before I dive into that. Yearbook, Google Meet, that's there. Are students going to be able to attend the football game on Friday? Unsure. I think it's unlikely, but once we know, we will communicate that in a very formal way. There are still a million details we're working through. There are rules for everything. There are rules for when and where and how the band is. There are rules for when and where and how the cheerleaders are. I mean, it is poor Coach East and Miss King have been in Miss King's office every day this week, and Miss Miller, trying to sort out how many tickets do we have? How many can we actually have? How are we going to sell them? How do the links work? It is one of the most time-consuming things we've seen, and that's in the last year, knowing everything we've spent time on. So I know that information feels behind the eight ball, but variables are literally changing. We got some new information yesterday that changes our action, and a lot of it has to be vetted at the county level so that all schools are doing the same stuff, which slows the process down, but is appropriate. I am super glad to hear the curriculum fair was a great experience. Huge shout out to Sally Geyer, our counselor, who really helped put that together. I mean, if you've seen the slideshow that's now on the website, like trying to finagle over 100 slides with information from all these departments and programs in the school is an absolutely Herculean effort. And she just does it gracefully. It was like, hey, how you doing? It's Wednesday. This is what I do, whatever. So you would never know how much work it is if you just talk to her, but it really was an immense undertaking. And we are so thrilled that so many people had a great time. Is there a curriculum fair again tonight? Unfortunately, no, I don't believe so. But all of the slides from last night are linked on the website on the right-hand side next to the pictures. I think it says curriculum fair recap, and that should give you access to, yes, curriculum fair recap. It's under events and info. We'll give you access to all the information from the different departments and give you people to contact with specific questions. Worst case scenario, if you missed last night and you're looking to connect with a specific program, please reach out to your counselor and admin combo because they can absolutely get you in touch with who you need to talk to. How do we go about setting up a class as independent study or traveling to a different school for an upper level class? So students traveling to other schools for an upper level class is exceedingly rare and exceedingly difficult, especially when we are an A-day, B-day school and a lot of other schools aren't. It's not unheard of. We have had students do it in the past. Usually it happens in math. For a situation like this, if you're interested in AP macroeconomics, most of the time we try and satisfy that for the students via North Carolina Virtual Public School. But that is definitely, yeah, the students that I know that have traveled for other classes have gone to Enloe. But you have to think about time lost. Like if you have an on-site class first period, you got to drive to Enloe, take the class and come back, getting all those scheduling pieces to line up. It's not like it's the same 5-minute class change to go to second period at Enloe. So there's just a lot of variables, and the best, start with your counselor. You know, if it's on the registration sheet that they want to take macroeconomics, then by all means sign up for it. And then your counselor will be in touch about what options there might be to make that class work. What is the protocol if a student comes in late when their cohort is in person? They just need to report to the guest services window. If they come in late, and whoever is at the guest services window, most of the time it's Miss Cooper, who all of us know helps keep the world turning here at Millbrook High School. But also we get a lot of help down there from Miss Renee Patterson and Jamal Williams. So shout out to that whole crew helping us man that window all the time. But you just go there, sign in, and then they will meet you in the lobby to be screened, and then we'll give you a wristband and send you to class. Who do I contact for more CCP info? Man, is Eric Kane on here? Eric Kane, if you're out there, let me know. So Miss Bartholomew, for CCP info, I would have you email Miss Frazier. Let me go ahead and get her email right now before I forget. D Fraser 1. In fact, I can do it this way. I taught myself a neat trick a minute ago. And I would also maybe add Miss Barnes onto that. I know that she, anytime I mention the dual enrollment courses, she's got the whole roster in her. I do not know how Miss Barnes keeps all of that information in her head. It really is incredible. So they have to have a parent sign them in if they come late. Oh yeah, I mean, I do believe a parent has to sign a student in if they come late. Let me check on our welcome back website. And I have a 9 o'clock meeting, so just I hate to rush everybody. I'm going to go ahead and do a last call for questions. If you got them, go ahead and put them in the chat so that I can get to them. I'm going to pull up the health and safety handbook here that Mr. Ship has built and put on the website for us in coordination with our COVID response team. Bell schedule, carpool, arrival. Sorry, this is what it looks like when I have to read things. I know this is very boring to watch. Let's do this. Hey, I got a question for you. If a student checks in late, a parent has to check them in at this point, right? Yeah. Okay. We just Miss Cassiano's on here and said that, and I just want to verify that I can say it the right way. So if a student comes late, they need to come with a parent, and the parent needs to sign them in. Heard. Okay. Thank you. That's awesome. Bye. Let me try really quickly. Oh, it's so hard to see. I got these new glasses and I'm still getting used to them. One more call. Hey, quick question from the Facebook Live family about AP. The AP registration is the 12th. I've told them that with some new information, you and Ms. Barnes are working on getting some communication together. I didn't know if there's anything I can tell parents about. Okay, so if the question is, should they have heard from their teacher about registration? The answer is yes. They need to check with their teacher to get registered. Cool. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Bye. All right. So for AP exams, it's being handled with the AP teacher in the classroom. So if your student isn't sure about AP registration for a specific class, please reach out to that teacher specifically to make sure that that registration process gets rolling. Ms. Robinson, that is a great question. Let's find out. Hey, it's me again. What if it's like a senior who drives themselves and they check in during second period? If they have a doctor's note or if a parent writes a note, is that okay? Okay. Drivers. Okay. So if a student gets dropped off by a parent, the parent needs to sign them in. If the student has applied for parking and is parking on campus, then they can sign themselves in. Okay. Up to 10:30. That's right. And then I can talk about after 10:30 because that hasn't changed. Cool. All right. Thank you. Yep. Bye. Yeah, Ms. Petzold, I would assume they should check with their teacher from last semester if they took it last semester, just to be sure. And then Ms. Robinson, yes, if a student is parking on campus, then they can sign themselves in because we'll have certain documentation about that. Um, we the way to think about that is in normal days when we weren't dealing with all this weird COVID stuff, it was not uncommon for a student to show up late, but really they got picked up in the morning, went and hung out with a friend, and then came back. And so our job, we owe it to the parents to make sure that we know where kids were. And there's certainly when you agree to park here, there's certainly a level of trust with your student driving. But because of that, and because the parent has to sign off on liability for parking. We can handle that a little bit differently. That's just why we like to ensure that if a student gets dropped off, we like to have a parent sign in because we understand a million different things can happen, but we don't want a parent thinking, "Oh yeah, my kid's at school," when in reality they weren't. So that's just more of a safety thing. Um, so anyway, sorry, I know that's not exactly an answer, but hopefully that context helps. And then after 10:30, again, 10:30 is like lunchtime, and so on a regular year, students who maybe didn't make it to school first and second period would wait until the lunchtime to try and sign in. They'd say, "Oh, I'm late back from lunch," or something like that. And we that's a lot of the school day that people have missed, and so we always want to make sure we check in with the parent. So after 10:30, we need to hear from a parent or have them sign their student in. All right. Thank you so much for bearing with us. I know it was last minute. We were just a few minutes late. But happy Wednesday. It is March all of a sudden. Shout out to men's basketball who is rolling into the state championship basketball game this weekend. Um, let's go round ball. It's also football season in the spring, which is very weird. Athletics this year is kind of confusing for sure. There's a reason I taught band. I don't really understand athletics that well, but we got a lot going on. I hope everybody has a great rest of your week. Please be safe. Keep your ears open because lots of stuff is going to be communicated at weird times just so that everybody has the most up to date information. If you have questions about courses, please contact your counselor. And I hope you all have a great, great rest of your week. Bye now.